The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
If you want to be part of the program, hey, come on. We would like to have you be part of the program. You can do that in two different avenues. Send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Send us a question. Let us know where you're listening from. Say hi. Fine with us. We will do what we can to help you with any questions, and we'll say hi back to you. If you do have a question about a particular problem, if you can include a photograph, that would make it very much appreciated on our end. We could help better identify that situation. gardentalkradio@gmail.com. If you would like to give us a call, you can do that on the Proclamation Hotline brought to you by Proclamation Goods. That number is toll-free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with a versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supplies limited to order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
Alrighty, proclamationgoods.com. Thank you very much for supporting the program, as well as all of the sponsors you've heard and are hearing. These are people that support the program financially in order for us to bring the program to you. These are companies we've worked hard to build a relationship with and trustworthy products. So support them because they support us. Well, simple worm castings is a simple way in order to enhance or feed your soil in an organic means, Holly. And worm castings are nothing more than the droppings or the manure or the byproduct of worms themselves.
Right. So worms are amazing little creatures, earthworms. They eat or, decompose their own body weight in one day. So overall, throughout that time, one worm can produce 1/2 pound a year of their own waste. So if you think of a tiny worm,
right?
That's a lot of waste.
And we're talking about the old-fashioned, traditional, you grew up, you saw them in the garden worms. We're not talking about jumping worms or hammerhead worms. Those are invasive species that are dangerous and a whole other mess that we're not going to deal with today. Worm castings is some people will grow strictly in worm castings. Other people will use worm castings as a top dressing or a liquid fertilizer. Now, Simple Grow is a company that sponsors the program. They sell bag, bulk, ton, truckload of 100% worm castings at simplegrow.com. Phenomenal products. If you have not used worm castings and you are going to, you might as well get the best from the best, which is Simple Grow, in order to feed your plants. Now, worm castings, and I can't speak for other companies. I can speak for Simple Grow. They don't smell. So you could, and you can, and people do, take them worm castings and top dress their indoor plants, and there's no odor that is emitted from them. It's a smell-free fertilizer, natural fertilizer.
Right. So the humus in earthworm castings will help increase the soil's water retention. It improves soil aeration, which just means kind of like those little air pockets in soil that naturally exist there. And then it also provides anchor plant nutrients that would otherwise leach away water. So anchor plants can be anything from grasses to...
It can be a weed.
It can be a weed, yep. It can be your perennial plants. It can be...
Isn't this what nature uses to cover bare soil to keep it? Just anything that can grow in that particular ecosystem.
Right.
And that's why you see weeds grow, in driveways, in anywhere that there's not consistent impact of traffic of human or mechanical, the middle of a driveway, the middle of a dirt path. That's why anything to cover bare soil.
Right. And so this helps feed those anchor plants, perhaps maybe instead where they would lose their nutrients. A lot of the anchor plants probably don't need many nutrients as they grow out of driveways. But this, if you do have perennials and you feel that you want to help feed them more, you might want to put some worm castings in and kind of side dress it, and that would help them.
Nature. Worms in your garden, and the University of Wisconsin has said that you should have about 12 worms per square foot, give or take 9 to 12 worms per square foot. And some of you may have much more. We did a test many years ago, and we had 24 in 1 cubic block of soil. We extracted out, counted it. Some may have very little. Now, if you do not have the worms in your garden that you think you should, or you don't have them at all, you don't want to bring worms in. You don't want to just go to your bait shop or go to your wherever shop and mail order 10,000 worms. That's not going to be good. Why is that not going to be good, Holly?
So worms, they exist in their own ecosystem, and then you have worms in your ecosystem in your backyard or wherever you have your garden. And if you bring in worms from another source, they could not get along necessarily. It could become overcrowded. It could just be a myriad of problems.
Diseases could be transferred from variety or species to species.
So what you can do is you can invite the worms.
How do we do that?
You send them
an invite online. Yeah.
So you just add compost, any sort of organic material to your garden.
And somehow they know. They will migrate, and this is not going to happen like overnight. You put the compost down, you got a colony of worms. It's going to take several months. But once you get them in your area, and they come, I don't know, I guess they smell this compost or the good soil. I'm sure there's a scientific, and I haven't looked into that. They will appear. You will dig the soil, and you'll see worms. Now, people often till, and people kill a lot of worms. And we're not saying you should or shouldn't. We choose not to till for a variety of reasons. If you're concerned about the slaughter of worms, you can limit how much damage you can do to the worms. Now, and we don't till because we think we know that science has proven that there is a lot of structural damage done to the soil web and all that by tilling. But if you choose to till, that's your deal. You turn the tiller on, set it on top of the area in which you're going to till for about 3 to 5 minutes. That will send pulses of vibrations to the soil and through the soil. And worms are smart enough, the smart ones, they will start burrowing down deeper because they know that vibration is similar to rain. And when there's a lot of rain, the soil gets too wet and the worms will migrate down deeper. Worms can go down as far as conservatively 8 feet. Yeah. So they can get down and away from the danger. And then that is a limitation of the amount of worms that you could potentially damage with your tiller.
Real quick, I just want to touch on some disadvantages. It does take time to create worm castings. 90 days is the minimum. So you want to keep that in mind, that if you are going to try to create your own worm castings with like a worm bin, it does take some time. And sometimes if you do purchase worm castings, they're a little bit more costly than other fertilizers. So that's something to keep in mind.
But it's all natural.
It is, yeah, for sure. Like it's one of those cost versus reward type of situations. And but as far as you wanting to create your own, it does take a little bit of time, and that's fine. And you can create your own compost. There's a lot of different options as to how to fertilize your garden and what works for you and your budget.
So if you are looking for, and I don't want this to turn into some type of info commercial, but I do want to tell you about good products, simplegrow.com. You can buy it by the bag, bulk, truckload, or ton. Simplegrow.com for your worm castings. And when you get the worm castings, they don't give you anything else. It's just worm castings. That's it.
Absolutely.
So worms, they are your friends. They do a lot of things that you are not, and we are not aware of, that greatly help not only your garden, but nature itself.
I used to collect worms when I was a kid.
Oh, another Holly story. You have tuned in a couple of weeks ago was a story about paper birch trees, and today it's about worms. Tell us the story about collecting worms, Holly, because I'm sure many people have waited a week and a half plus for this.
I liked worms. I always have liked playing in the dirt, digging in the soil.
You didn't eat the worms,
I didn't eat the worms, no. Okay. But I do have a picture. I'm sure my mom has it of me pretending to eat a worm. So I actually probably have a picture of that as an adult. So yeah, I would collect these worms and I put them in this orange Tupperware container, and I had a little worm friend.
These worms did not make it back out. They died, didn't they?
I think probably.
You didn't use them for fishing or anything.
No.
You just collected them like an ant farm, but
Yeah.
it was started off good but ended badly.
Right. And then, but then I learned that because, when it rains, they come to the surface.
No, they go down.
Well,
some of them go. Some of them go.
So
up.
that's when that would be prime worm collecting time.
Okay. Well, we're happy for that story. Well, another thing you can be happy about is what Walton's Incorporated offers for you. You concerned about where your meat comes from? If you're a butcher or a meat processing individual, you want to know what's going in or how to do that or have the right tools, Walton's Inc. has all of that for you.
We are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from, canning, preserving, everything. Walton's Inc. has everything you need to make any type of meat product. You can also go to meatgistics.com to help educate yourself on hows and whys of meat processing, as well as a community of 15,000 users who will help give their opinion and guidance on meat processing issues. They have decades of experience. WaltonsInc.com does. Meatgistics.com. You can make some, help find some support there. They have a full line of sausage stuffers, mixers, meat grinders, seasoning, stuff to make jerky, snack sticks, all that good stuff.
And they have kitchen supplies, spices. If you're not a butcher, they've got tools in which you can use for your grill to your stovetop.
Absolutely. So if you go to waltonsinc.com, Walton's everything but the meat, use code GROW50 to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more and get free shipping. For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.